Hey everyone, it's LJ here. Welcome back to another video. We have another REM react. Hey, so we are going to react to the Tale of Jenny and Screech full today. I want to thank you all again for the amazing support and wonderful messages you have left on my previous videos. Hey, Editing LJ here. I just wanted to come on and just, I can't say thank you enough. The support I have received since doing these reactions has been phenomenal. I had 50 subscribers when I started this. I genuinely thought, after I'd reacted to it, and I looked at a couple of other videos with the views, I was like, oh, maybe I'll get 500, 600 views. That'd be amazing. So I can't quite put into words how this is at the moment. It doesn't quite feel real, and it has been so lovely to connect with so many of you over this incredible music and our shared experiences. And yeah, the fact that so many of you have subscribed and stuck around and reached out, and we've had such lovely conversations, has sort of been the highlight of this. I've loved discovering Ren and his music, don't get me wrong, but I think some of the connections with people that I've actually had where we've talked about experiences has just been phenomenal. I mean, it's nice to know that you're not alone. I hate that other people are suffering or have experienced things like this, but it is nice to know that you're not alone. And so literally from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you all, because I never expected any of this. As I say, I was expecting about 500 views. So yeah, just wow. And thank you so very much. And I hope that you stick around and enjoy some of my other content. Now that I have been speaking a bit more about my story, and there's a little bit more in this video as well, I do actually feel like talking through this to people is helping me as well. So yeah, thank you all so very much for being part of this, and I genuinely cannot thank you enough. It still doesn't quite feel real. But yeah, I really appreciate each and every one of you, and I just wanted to add that in because just wow, thank you so much. Someone has watched this for me and has sort of assessed that I will be okay to watch it, which makes me feel a little bit better. Has said that I may find it difficult, but we shall see. I really am looking forward to this one just because it is so many of you suggested it. Yeah, so we're gonna have a look at it. I don't know what to expect at all, but we're gonna have a go at looking at it. So let's crack on, shall we? Okay, let's start this one.
It was a quiet, dark night in an empty street somewhere in London City. Jenny walked alone, she was dragging her feet. She was heading back home to sleep. Well, she knew this town, she knew this floor, because she walked it about 1,000 times before she wanted to escape. Can you blame Well, on the very same night, in a different place, there was this hooded young youth by the name of James. He was 14 years old and out of his brain, he'd been smoking ganja with the boys. James, he grew up to be a kid of the street. His mates called him Screech, he was quick on his feet. He was a liar, a thief, at 14 years old, the devil had set his sights on his soul. As Jenny walked home all alone, she felt scared. Usually she was alright, but it was like there was something in the air. A divine intervention telling her to beware, maybe intuition bogging her and making her so scared. Sirens sound in the distance to the beat of Jenny's feet. A symphony of the night that echoes crime on London streets. Jenny turns a corner, their eyes they meet. Up or go Jenny, a boy named Screech. Give me all your money, bitch, give it to me. If you cooperate, then you'll soon be free. I want your purse, your phone, don't fucking look at me. I mean it, bitch, are you listening to me? Jenny freezes statue like a lady shakes stalactite. Feel like liquid nitrogen in the dark night. She tried to find strength to move, but stayed as still as a statue in high-heeled shoes. What the hell you playing at? You playing games with me? I swear to fucking God, I'll slice the rosy off your cheeks. You think I don't mean it, girl? You don't know me. The last thing you see will be a boy code. Screech reached with the sheath of the blade, with the teeth that could bite through steel and slice concrete, and he swung possessed with the devil in his chest, and the statue she was turned to butter in her breath. It was a quiet dark night in an empty street somewhere in London City. Jenny lay still on the cold concrete. She's found somewhere to sleep. Well, she knew this town, she knew this floor, 'cause she'd walked it about 1,000 times before. I guess that she escaped. It's such a shame. Our story, it starts right at the end of the life of poor Jenny, clocked out like Big Ben. This Screech, dear boy, where did he go? He melted into the black night just like snow. Patrick, man, let me in, please open the door. I think I fucked up, Patrick, really fucked up, man, I'm not sure. I got crazy, left this lady lying still on the floor. I think I killed her, Patrick, come on, man, I can't knock no more. But Screech kept on knocking till his knuckles became sore. But there's no sign of Patrick down at number 54. No refuge for our villain, for the bitter hands of fate, with something far more sinister in mind that does away. Hey, babe, you in? No, nothing really, I'm just a bit tired, listen. Can I swing around yours for a few moments? I just really miss you, babe. What the fuck do you mean you're busy? You fucking bitch, for fuck's sakes! Siren sounds approaching like a banshee in the night. The shrill cry of justice cutting like the sharpest knife. But Screech was never one to run, not one to miss a fight. One hand upon his blade, he turned to face the blue lights. Come on then, you fucking cunts, let's fucking have you then. I am Screech, I'm the boss, I'm the ender of men. You think that uniform you're wearing means that you own these streets? These are my fucking streets, and they call me fucking Screech. Richard was an officer who stood at 6'3", working London on the night shift. What he didn't think he'd see was a boy running at him like an animal possessed. With no time to hesitate, he fired 4 bullets at Screech's chest. Our story, it ends right at the start. Young Screech and poor Jenny lying 1 street apart. An officer shaken by the boy that he claimed. 2 bodies lay lifeless, and it's such a shame. It's such a shame.
Wow.
London City, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington is fighting just to stay alive. Rhythmic beats and bloodstained sheets, Our Lady weeps, she's tired and frail. To set the scene, we must rewind the hands of time for Violet's tale. Violet was a silent girl, grew up with violent starts. Her mother was a drinker and her father was a bastard. Every night he took her tie but never left the room. I'll spare you with the things he did, I'm sure her mother knew. Violet was a silent girl, she moved out at 16. A semi-detached council flat, paid for by a welfare scheme. Packing shelves at Tesco, stacking jars like pickled bricks. She met a boy named Stevie and he was a little prick. Violet was a silent girl and Violet, she fell fast. See, Stevie was a wrong un, but he sure knew how to charm her. Every night he took her tie, but never left the room. History repeats itself, he'd paint her black and blue and dark. She never stood a chance. The devil comes to dance. Violet, why are you always so quiet? On her bedroom door and he's irate. He's been drinking and smoking, he's up late. And he stands by her bedside, she shakes, but her eyes stay shut. You fucking slut, I know you're... Up, and he pinches her eyelids and folds them up. Violet, why are you lying to me, Violet? She stays silent, things turn violent. That's the sound of his fists when they fall like a crashing pilot. Hit like hailstones, one to the collarbone, full force, full blown, blood's black bone, crack, knick, knack, paddy whack, one to the jaw and the tooth spat, detached fist connects and disconnects a bone. A quick deflect to misdirect the blow, but nonetheless his punches met her throat. Such a mess he's left her bruised and broke. Violet, why you always so silent, Violet? Why you such a little liar, Violet? Do you think I want to do this, Violet? In character, she stays silent. Well, say something, Violet. Silence. Fucking say something, Violet. Silence. Wait. Say something, Violet. Not one word. She stays quiet. London City, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington is fighting just to stay alive. The doctor, in a state of shock, saw something here so very wrong. See, Violet, she was pregnant. Poor Violet, she was 9 months gone. Turning to the doctor, Violet broke her silence and she cried, if I'm to die right here tonight, please let my baby stay alive. The doctor soon regained composure, called the surgeon to come in. As Violet's world turned to black, the curtains closed, the lights went dim. In London City, far from pretty, 2005. A lady down in Paddington just lost the fight to stay alive. A tragedy or a miracle, it happened on these very streets. Two twins are lying side by side. A girl named Jenny and a boy named Screech.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Wow. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really remember much of Jenny and Screech, but I'll talk about Violet now, and then I have to rewatch it or something. That got me. So I genuinely didn't know it was going to say 2005. 2005 was the last time that I fully acted on my unaliving plan. So that one got me, and I genuinely thought it was going to be that, not what it turned into. So that was a bit of a shock to start with, just because, yeah, I've been self-destructive since then, don't get me wrong, but that was the last time I fully acted on a plan. Wow. Then I mean, the start of that was kind of close to home. The alcoholic mother. And I found with this, and I find it with the books that I read, in the vast majority, I would say maybe 80% of stories, it's always the male adult figure that is the one who's usually abusive. So, you know, dad, uncle, stepdad, brother, cousin, it's usually the men. And I have found it does exist, but I found it very rare that it's the female caregiver who is the one who's abusive usually. Now obviously alcohol does play a big part, and you know, in a lot of those situations the woman doesn't know and doesn't do anything about it, which is just as heinous in my opinion, unless there's a situation where, anyway, I'm not going to go into that now, it's not the time for that, I can't eloquate it properly, but yeah, it does always seem to be primarily the men that do it, and I don't know if that makes it easier to swallow or harder to swallow that it was a woman in my situation, I don't know. And then yeah, the leaving home at 16, I was 15, and I did work in Iceland, but yeah, like, wow. The thing that I don't know, there's quite a few things I could share with you now, I don't know. But like the staying silent, you do stay silent, because for many years I thought it happened to everyone, but as soon as I realised that it didn't happen to everyone, I genuinely just thought, well, if it's only happening to me, it's obviously something I've done to deserve this. Like, I have done something, I've said something, I am inherently bad, because otherwise why would this be happening? Especially when my dad then passed, because I was like, how can you leave me with this parent and take away the parent that cared? So as I stated previously, that's why I've never really found a place in organised religion that way, because it just doesn't make sense in my head. And yeah, like, there were times when I wished that she would just continue until I wasn't breathing anymore. I mean, the main reason I left was because I ended up in hospital for the second time in 2 weeks, which kind of like was like, I need out of here, otherwise I won't make it. Yeah, wow, like, I will say that I've never been in a physically abusive relationship as an adult. I have done enough to destroy myself. I don't require someone else to do that for me. But I have been in emotionally abusive relationships, which are not fun. But yeah, I feel like I missed part of that song. I don't know, did it jump straight from childhood to that situation? I might need to rewatch it at some point. It seemed to jump, and normally he's pretty good at telling a linear story, so yeah, I don't even know, like, it's nuts. Like, I don't even know where to go, to be honest. Just, yeah. There were times I wished she would carry on, and I just wouldn't wake up, because it's so much to deal with when you have someone who is physically attacking you on a daily basis. Takes a look out for you, it really does. I'm gonna go and have a little time to decompress, and then I will be back. Okay. Hey, okay, so I have just rewatched Jenny and Screech, and yeah, I had completely forgotten all of that. So, um, yeah, I will preface this by saying I have never been in that situation, thankfully. But I have, as a woman, walked home on my own after nights out, and there are definitely times when you know something is going on. It does feel like there's something in the air. There is this sort of intuition. I don't know if it's because I am female, if it's because of the childhood that I had, if it's just a thing that everyone can sense, but you can sense when there is something going on, and that's not a pleasant feeling to be in. Yeah. So, I've also unfortunately known kids like Screech. So, as I've mentioned before, the thing that gave birth to me was a raging alcoholic. Somehow kept down a job despite being a raging alcoholic. Like, I remember at between the ages of 6 and 10, I would go to the shop with some money, come home with 2 bottles of vodka, 2 bottles of wine, 2 packets of cigarettes, because in the 80s and 90s it didn't work the same way as now, and so I would go to the shop and pick up her wine, her vodka and her cigarettes and take them home. And so many times I was like, maybe if I just smash them all, but I dropped one once and it wasn't worth the reaction. But somehow she kept down a job during this, and everyone seemed to think that she was absolutely fine. So yeah, as time went on and I realised actually this doesn't happen to everyone, I did eventually start to sort of A, fight back, defend myself and fight back, and B, sort of take advantage of the situation. So I was very well endowed from a very young age, and so I could go into bars and buy alcohol, or I could go into shops and buy alcohol, and me and my friends would sit and drink it in the park or wherever. And it got to a point where, you know, they couldn't go home, so I'd say, come and crash at mine. We'd all crash on the front floor, and then she'd come down in the morning and she'd be raging like, why are these people here? And I would just turn around and go, I told you last night and you said they could come. And she would have to agree, because she couldn't remember. She never remembered anything that happened. But if she admitted she didn't remember, then she'd have to admit that she was drinking, and she could never do anything wrong. So that was one way I sort of took advantage of the situation. It did mean, unfortunately, I did get a little bit wild. I was doing a fair amount of underage drinking. Despite the fact that I never wanted to be her, drinking was a way of rebelling that I could access. And eventually I did move in with my stepmom, as I've mentioned, but one of my friends that I'd known from a very young age, he carried on, and he ended up getting quite heavy into drugs and gangs, and he ended up having to move across country to escape the situation. As far as I know, there wasn't a lot of violence involved. It was mostly just buying and selling drugs and money situations that got him in trouble. But, you know, I could quite easily have carried on in that situation myself, had I not had my stepmom to move in with. So, yeah, it's an interesting situation. I mean, like, I had a criminal record as a child for shoplifting. I did shoplift when I was living on my own, or living on the streets, or supporting myself. There were times where I couldn't afford food or clothes, and so I would steal essentials so that I didn't die. But I always felt so guilty about it. But I got a criminal record for stealing when I was like 9 or 10 at Woolworths. Do you remember Woolworths? And I was looking after this kid. So the thing that gave birth to me had a friend a couple of doors down. Somehow they found each other, and her child was treated like a princess, but I was the punching bag for both of them. And I would often look after this kid, and so I took this kid out and we went down to Woolworths, and I think I was looking at music, like CDs and stuff, I think. And this little girl had this backpack on, and you can see on the video, they show me the video, she's over here and I'm all the way over here, not even paying attention to her. But this security guard comes and grabs us as we're leaving. It's like, you're shoplifting, you've been stealing sweets. And I'm like, I haven't even been near the sweets, what? So they open this girl's backpack and it's stuffed full of chewing gum. She's not allowed chewing gum. So they're like, well, you must have told her to do it because she's too young to have done this on her own. So they called the police, which made me panic because, you know, I was already in a situation where the police would come and find us when we were sat on the street drinking, and you know, they weren't friendly to us. Looking back, I can appreciate they were probably just doing their job, and we were a little bit out of control, but that's not how you view it in that situation. So I was absolutely petrified when the police came, and I got like I can't remember what it was, but like it was unspent or something, I don't know. But I got it for shoplifting, and I was banned from wars till I was 18. Now, wars had already gone before I was 18, but hey ho. It was an interesting time, and just, I can see easily how kids get into that situation when their home life isn't ideal. Now, obviously, didn't go into the backstory of Screech, but you know, had I not had my stepmom to move in with, I could well have been in that same situation. Because you know, when your family is shit, you choose your new family. You choose people that support you, that share your ideals, and I can easily see how you get into that situation, which is scary. But like when you have family like I have, it's an interesting one. So my dad passed when I was 12, and I finally moved out of home at 15. And I sofa surfed for a while, I stayed with friends, I crashed on park benches, and then I moved in with my stepmom. And when I moved in with my stepmom, I eventually started telling people on the side of the family of the woman that gave birth to me what had happened. And one specific member of that side of the family turned around to me and said, she would never do anything like that. You just want attention because it's been so many years since your dad died, you're not the centre of attention anymore. Why would I tell anyone if that's the reaction I'm going to get? Like, it was just, this is why people don't tell you. Everyone's like, oh, if someone did that to me, I would definitely tell people. Would you really? If that's the reaction that you get? Like, it just confirmed in my head that I deserved it and I'd done something wrong. I mean, thank God for my stepmom, because she lived quite far away from where I lived, so she took me out of that situation of the drinking and the hanging out with friends and the rebelling, and I sort of settled down when I was with her, so that was a really beneficial time for me. But I could quite easily have gone the other way. I remember there was one time when people had crashed at my house, and she was in a shitty mood that morning because she didn't have the vodka, or so, I don't know, there was some problem. So I go into the kitchen to try and calm her down because she's smashing around in there, and I close the door behind me to kind of like try and block out what's happening, and I get the torrid verbal abuse, and then she starts throwing whatever she can reach at me, knives, plates, pans, whatever is next to her, she starts throwing at me. And at one point I sort of sense that the door is opening, like I see and hear it at the corner of my eye, and I'm just like, stay out there, guys. And then like this fight continues. I start throwing shit back at her because I'm just like, stop. Eventually she gets tired of this and she goes upstairs, and as I leave, my friends aren't there, and I'm like, oh crap. And I notice the front door's open, so I go out looking around the road trying to find them, and close by there was like a little green area. It's not really a park, but there was like a little green area, and I found them in there on the swings, and they were just in absolute shock because although I'd mentioned things weren't great at home, I hadn't really gone into details, and that was the first time that I think anyone from the outside physically saw what was going on, that weren't involved, and they were really, really shocked. And that was the first time I was offered drugs, because they were like, how the fuck do you cope? Do you want something to not cope? And I was like, there's no way that I can take something, because if I'm not quick-witted enough to respond, I could die. So, there were friends already going in that sort of general area, and I can see how easily your life can go from one to the other, because being somewhere where I'm not being beaten up every day and I have the escape of drugs and alcohol, it seemed like a great escape, because there were times I wished she'd carry on until I was not breathing anymore. The main reason I actually left is because I ended up in hospital for the second time in 2 weeks, and I was sick of making excuses for how I'd hurt myself. So yeah, it sort of all came to a head, and it's just nuts. Like, I look back on that situation and I kind of smile when I think about it, because it seems so bizarre. Even though it happened to me, it seems like this sort of joke or something. Like, just how shocked my friends were. Like, one of my friends shortly after that said, you know, do you want me to cut her brake lines? Do you want her out of your life? And I was like, I do, but do not do anything, because I don't want you to get involved and get in trouble or anything. That was sort of like a big wake-up call when someone had offered to find me an escape, you know. And it's nuts. So although I've never actually been in a situation like that with the police, I can easily see how a kid like that could react like that with nothing left to lose. You know, I'm just thankful that my life changed in that way. Ren is just a genius. Like, that man can put you in a position to completely understand something that you might not have experienced. And what I've found with connecting with some of you is, you know, I've had people say, oh, I've never experienced this, but I can appreciate it because of how he describes it, and he really does. He's got a talent. It's phenomenal. And he's got his new one coming out, I want to say on the 29th of March. So I'm really looking forward to that. But wow, I mean, this has been really rambly. If you are still here after listening to all of my waffle, thank you so much. This is going to be a long video, and yeah. As always, any comments or questions, leave them down below. Yeah. I don't know what else to... I don't really know how to finish this one, because it's been a bit of a... But yeah, I will see you on the next one. Loopy love.